Okay, welcome to the Tuesday show on UltraChenTV. My name is David, aka Ultra David.
I'm James Chen. How's everybody going?
So this is an episode that I've been kind of excited for because we're going to be spending most of the time talking about Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Yep.
In fact, as you can see, if you look at the playing game that's listed on our Twitch stream right now, you might see a new game there. You might see a new game. You should check that out. It's Ultra Street Fighter 4. Somehow Twitch got Ultra Street Fighter 4 as a playable game before it got Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012.
Yep, and so, that's what we're playing right now.
Playing.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I wish.
All right, cool. Oh, well.
Of course, I mean, there's been major news, right?
Yes.
So last week we talked about the rumors that came out for Ultra Street Fighter 4. Included among them were red focus.
Yes.
And the double ultra mechanic. And then there was also a delayed wake up mechanic.
Yeah,
Two out of those three have been actually confirmed. So Combo Fiend had a video where he, basically addressed it.
Yeah. I mean, and he also, he should address those two, and then said that the unblockables are gone.
And the unblockables are gone.
Yes. So, and he even said during the location tests that he dares anybody to try to find new unblockables. So that'll be interesting. So.
Right. So as far as the mechanics that they announced, they even had some footage for the double ultra thing. There's a little W when you select it.
So apparently in Japan, W, they use that symbol to represent double a lot.
Yeah.
So there was an example someone gave that was not Street Fighter related. That was like they would do that, and it was just called W mode or something like that. So.
Yeah, I've heard that too. So people are calling it Wultra.
I like the double U, right? The double ultra.
W.
Right?
Okay, I like it. I like it.
So.
I've heard Dub Ultra. I don't really like that though.
Dub Ultra.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna stick with one of those first two. But let's talk about this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Before like I said, we'll talk about red focus. We'll talk about this lack of unblockables thing. And maybe other speculation too, but let's go mechanic by mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, so here we go. We have this new double ultra thing, right? So the rumor has it, so what you can do now is have the option to select one ultra, the other ultra, or both ultras. And if you select both ultras, so far the rumored damage that I keep seeing is 66%, which I'm guessing is more like 66.66666%, right?
Yeah.
So two-thirds of damage. So the minimum damage an Ultra could do is now the maximum damage it can do in W Ultra mode, essentially. So, because half full Ultra was 67%.
Oh.
So the minimum damage that an Ultra used to be able to do is now the maximum damage that an Ultra can do.
I got you. Although, of course, if you're not at full Ultra meter, you'll be doing
even
presumably
less.
2/3 of 2/3.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously we don't know, but that's just a guess.
Yes, and so the question now comes down to is this going to make anyone too powerful? Do you think that this is going to... Because, I mean, instantly the thing that comes into mind is grapplers. Everyone's like, oh my god, grapplers, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think so
People
far?
have been worried about that. The reason they're worried is because grapplers, including Hakan, Zangief, and T-Hawk, have good ground instant grabs. They all have these 720 grabs. But they also then have not being on the ground ultras. Okay, so Geef Ultra 2 requires them to jump, and then he grabs you whatever you're doing.
Right.
Most Dragon Punches even will lose to it, backdashes. T-Hawk, same thing. It comes from the ground, but same idea. If you're in the air, if you're doing a Dragon Punch, if you're backdashing, you're going to get lit up. And then Hakan's is probably the most ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's an instant one-frame Ultra that is the same thing. If you're in the air at all, you are caught.
Yeah.
And that's, at first blush, really good. To be able to dissuade people from standing next to you at all. Not just from standing next to you, but from jumping next to you, even maybe doing a meaty Dragon Punch next to you.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's good, but I do think that it's a little bit overhyped.
Okay. And, you know, I do want to address something that Acid Glow says here on the stream. This is an argument that we have all the time, right? He says, is it wrong for grapplers to be really good? You know, the other characters have been in the spotlight long enough. It's time for grapplers to be good. And, you know, we have this debate all the time. I always say that if the grappler is the best character in the game, then the game sucks. Like, that's generally my belief. Like, as soon as the grappler is the best character in the game, pretty much the game is no longer fun anymore. And keep this in mind. I am a grappler player. I love using grapplers, right?
So long ago.
Dude, I still like playing grapplers. When I play vanilla, I use Zangief, right? Yeah. So...
yeah.
But...
So, look... Random Ultra is not that great.
Yeah.
Just in general, a Random Ultra is not that great. You rarely see grappler players do it now because there's just a big risk associated with it. So if the opponent is standing next to me and they're threatening to either jump away or stay on the ground and I have the answer to both, that sounds good, but again, I don't necessarily want to take that risk. Right. So think about what Ultras do, right? I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's less damage, right? Mm-hmm. So, Gilly actually made this awesome list. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yeah, I made it myself too. So
you did. Oh,
he did it. He did it through 66%. I did it through ×2 divided by 3. So our numbers are a little. Our numbers are a little different, but yeah.
So he put out the damage values that we expect in case it's just a straight 2/3. Oh, I guess a 66%.
Right.
Value. And Geef's Ultra 1 was not that much more damage than a Fierce Spinning Powder.
The max that it could do was about 340 something or somewhere around there. Yeah. But I just remember it was around 100 more than a Fierce SPD.
Right, which is 250.
So is that worth the sacrifice?
Right, exactly.
When you could Fierce SPD them anyway, you know?
Exactly. So say I take this risk, right? I wake up with Hawk Ultra 1, okay? If it works out, I deal 300 and change.
Right.
If it doesn't, I might get boned, okay? If the opponent neutral jumped and lands into their full nonsense, I'm going to lose 300 or 400 damage. Mm-hmm. So that risk is not that great. Same thing if I try Ultra 2 and they stay on the ground. I'm going to lose a lot of damage. So it's just, Random Ultra is not that great, especially for Geef, because Geef's requires that he jumps first, his Ultra 2.
Right.
He can't do reversal Ultra 2. That's not how it works. As he jumps in is going to be the mix-up for Geef.
Yeah.
But he already has that. Because he already has, as he's jumping in, are you going to do an anti-air Dragon Punch, in which case Ultra 2, or are you going to stay on the ground, in which case Spinning Powder?
Right. I mean...
already has that mix-up.
The way that I see it is, if I'm Zangief and I'm going to rely on Ultra 2 as part of my mix-up, why wouldn't I want it to do 100% of the damage when I can do a Fierce SPD for 250 and get him scared? Now, someone I was talking to bringing up this point was that the advantage of the Ultra, obviously, is you get a better setup afterwards, right? If you land the Ultra 1, they spin before they crumple, so you can get all the way over there. Yeah. So it gives you better setups, but like you said, is the risk worth it?
Well, it's a utility thing. So I imagine that I'll use Ultra with Geef when I'm playing against Sagat, or characters that have one-frame punishes. EX Tiger needs -1 thing. I gotta have Ultra 1 there, so he can't just spam EX Tiger.
Right.
So I want that utility, but as far as the mix-up goes, it's not that great.
Right.
The character that matters for this is Hakan.
Yeah,
because his Ultras are utility Ultras. His Ultra 2 is a, you can't jump at me Ultra.
Dude, you can't do anything.
There are no mix-ups. There's no ambiguity. Okay?
Right. It beats safe jumps too, right? Because
as
soon as he starts up, if you are framed in the air, it's not even like if you're one frame from landing. As soon as he starts it, you're in the air. You're got, right?
And if you have a safe jump that lands you within a frame or two, his Ultra 1 has 3 active frames, and he can just effectively anti-air you with Ultra 1 anyway.
Okay.
His Ultra 1 is the farthest range command grab, which means it punishes some things that the other grapplers' command grabs don't. So for him, it's awesome. Because his Ultra 2 is amazing and his Ultra 1 is a good punisher. It's the utility rather than the mix-up.
Right, and plus the other thing, too, is that when he's dry can, like, his SPDs have no range. Their range are ass, right? Ultra 1 has decent range.
It has the best range.
if he has both of them, he's got the anti-air and he's got the Ultra 1 to be able to do stuff that his normal SPD can't, right? So,
I hope that he'll get buffed in that respect, in that his at least EX dry grab will get a little bit better, but, it's hard to talk about
I don't know.
The changes
Look,
will be.
We're talking about double ultras. We haven't got even the red focus yet, but I'm scared of Hakan getting buffed right now. So
I absolutely agree. So that's my thought with the grapplers.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, not great for Giffen and T-Hawk. Awesome for Hakan.
Right. Now I'm curious. I mean, for someone like Hugo, I wonder if they're gonna make his super the hammer.
Hugo,
Frenzy.
that's right.
Is his super gonna be hammer frenzy and his ultra gonna be SPD and anti-airs?
Dude, I hope he's not like that, because it's the same exact thing as all the grapplers, if that's the case.
Right.
I would hope that, like, Hammer Mountain would be an ultra, or... Like, I'm hoping for, like, this is definitely not going to happen, like, clap FADC Hammer Mountain stuff, I would love to have some actual combo utility.
Yeah.
Don't expect that to happen, but, I just hope he's not the same. But if it is like that, then yeah, that'll be good for him, too. His... the anti-air super, at least in Third Strike, is a better anti-air super than Hawks's in at least AE 2012. But it's just too hard to know whether Hawks will get buffed or not, and how Hugo's would act in this game.
Dude, I actually really like that. If they made Hammer Mountain an ultra and they made the anti-air a super.
Yeah.
Because if they made anti-air super, then you could juggle with clap, like throw him against the wall, clap, super, cancel into super.
As in third.
Right?
Yeah.
You could probably link it anyway. Actually, no matter what you do, it would probably connect. So even if it was an ultra or a super. But I don't know.
But yeah, I want to have comboable Hammer Mountain.
Dude, clap FADC Hammer Mountain is actually pretty hype.
Right?
That would actually be really cool. I mean, obviously, if it was a super, then you could just do clap super, right? But... that's no fun.
Yeah.
Clap FADC Hammer Mountain would be the best.
So okay, grapplers are the characters that everybody thought of immediately.
Yeah.
What do you think about the rest of the cast when it comes to double ultra?
The second category that immediately came to my mind is the Cami Fei Long counter ultra problem, right?
Okay.
Because like I said, the counter ultras, you sacrifice being able to do damage for having ultras that turn on automatically, right? I always said that the advantage of the counter ultra is that as soon as you get the ultra, they're on. Because now the opponent has to think about it. So if you're Viper, you're like, well, maybe he might activate this, so I have to be careful with my cross-up burn kick. So it's just something that you always have to think about no matter what. The Cammy and the Fei Long don't actually have to use it.
Right.
I mean, they do have to use it once in a while, otherwise the opponent's going to catch on, like, oh, okay, you're just bluffing right now, right?
Right.
But by having both ultras available to them, I think that's going to be really good. Because they're going to have this thing that turns on automatically. You have to worry about it, and they still get to do uppercut FADC. And especially for Cammy, because she's going to be the only person who's going to... actually, maybe Sagat can still do it, but you can... hit confirm off of backdash off of FADC. And that's going to be super huge because everyone's -3 now, right? Supposedly. If you do uppercut FADC -4, you're -3. So everyone's going to backdash, right? Yeah. So having both ultras and that change there, I think that's all good for Cammy.
I agree. I think that Cammy's a big winner in this. Her ultras are utility ultras. They're not there for the damage. I mean, it's nice if you get focus into ultra or something. Obviously, that's great. If you get ultra through fireball, it does a lot of damage. But the reason that it's so useful, that both of them are so useful, is this utility. So as you said, Ultra 2 makes people want to do fewer burn kicks, cross-ups, whatever it is. And she doesn't have the stupid problem that Faye does, where he kind of like turns around and moves forward, you know what I mean? The opponent just falls and he gets punished. Right. She doesn't have that, so that's good. And she'll still have Ultra 1 to get through fireballs and to, as you said, DPF ADC backwards.
Right. Crouch fierce, counter hit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Assuming stuff like that still works.
Yeah.
And Faye's Ultra 1 is not that big a deal. It's like in juggles only. Already doesn't do that much damage. So for him, having both is fine because having Ultra 2 is cool. It's useful, as we said. But it's also the case that Ultra 1 is... the damage on it is not even that significant anyway. It's already...
I mean, that Ultra 1 for him was always a fished focus crumple, you know, or like as Fudo did to Punko.
Oh, option
bait
select.
the uppercut, dash back, and then ultra him, ultra him on the way down. So that's how he won one round. I remember because Seth had just this gigantic chunk of life, and he was like, "Oh, backdash ultra," and that was the end of him. It just killed him straight up. So that's those are the two categories that came to my mind first.
Well, I'm most worried about utility with this in general. If somebody has an ultra that deals a lot of damage for them, I'm not too concerned because I mostly expect that they'll stick with that ultra, assuming things stay the same.
Right.
But for characters that have really good utility, it's a different story. So think about Akuma.
Great.
Okay, so now Akuma, they've already said probably won't be able to cancel Sweep into Ultra 1, but he can cancel all the rest of his normals into Ultra 1. He can cancel his Teleport into Ultra 2. So now he has just really stupid ability to escape and to be threatening in footsies in situations that nobody else can, which sucks if you're playing against him, but great for Akuma. It keeps him pretty strong, I think. I feel like his Ultra 1 is good for some punishes against people like Rog and against Rufus and so forth. Yeah. His Demon is always a threat in footsies and in wake-up games. So I think he's a big winner. I like Dalsum as being a big winner in this. I think he has 2 of the top 10 Ultras in the game. Ultra 1 is ridiculous. It does a million things. It separates him from the opponent and gets a get-off-me move when the opponent isn't right there. It allows him to mix up the opponent. It's a comeback factor for him. It forces the opponent to jump and to do bad situations.
Right.
It can be pretty decent damage, but then Ultra 2 is a mid-range punisher that he really doesn't have otherwise. It's his only mid-range option that really deals damage. It's pretty fast. It's an anti-fireball thing. It helps in zoning. It's good for anti-airs. It has all these uses.
Right.
So for him, a character who is not that dependent on individual damage, so the damage reduction isn't that big a deal. It's just about forcing the opponent into bad situations. Right. That's going to help him do it.
A lot of people are talking about Jury.
Yeah, Jury is another one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if she can get a miraculous hit, then she can confirm it into an Ultra, but if she's can't get that hit, then she can activate the Ultra to the Feng Shui engine and help her get in. So again, 2 utilities. Rose, same thing.
Yeah,
Rose is almost identical to Dalsum. The ShamWow basically is kind of an anti-air.
It's like a worse version of both.
Right, and then the Orbs is a momentum killer, right? So it's kind of the same idea. Right. So I think Rose is definitely going to be a pretty big winner off of this.
I like Makoto. Having Ultra 1, but also having the ability to escape with Ultra 2.
Because that's what it's for now.
It's basically what it's for. If you hit with it, that's great. But the damage reduction isn't that big a deal with Ultra 2 because you can combo after it anyway.
Right.
It's a combo starter. Right? So I like her. I like her with this as well.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of characters that that I just...
Well, bring up the...
I have
bring up a little characters list here.
Well, I also have Christian Kane's blog post that he made a long time ago. If you look, it was in August that he posted up where he rated how he thought how significant it's going to be. Okay. I mean, I obviously disagree with a lot of these.
Yeah, we don't have to say what his numbers are, but it's a useful little.
But one of the main ones that came to my mind also immediately was someone like Adon. Okay. Right. So obviously against non-fireball characters, Ultra 1's not going to be very useful, so he'll probably just stick with Ultra 2 instead of picking both, right? Okay. But as soon as you fight someone against a character like, let's say, Dalsum, or let's say Ryu, like, I don't feel like those characters are going to be Adon ever again with having both Ultras there. Because, keep in mind, Ultra 1 reaches really far.
It does.
Because once you activate it, you can hold forward or back and kind of control the distance. You can go pretty far with that. Yeah. And I actually reacted to a Guile Sonic Boom one time in Super and hit him. I mean,
really?
I knew he was going to throw one, so I was still able to activate it after he threw it and hit him, right? It's a pretty fast Ultra, right? I mean,
it's a 12-frame Ultra.
Yeah, see, that's pretty fast.
Pretty fast for the range it has, certainly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like, if you were Cammy and you did her 10-frame Ultra from that far, she usually hits them in the leg and then gets hit by the fireball. Adon's just going to go through that whole thing and just just basically destroy you. I feel like he's gonna mess up characters like Dalsum and Ryu really badly now, because now you can't throw fireballs, which lets him in, and now he can use his Ultra 2 on uppercut FADC.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just feel like those are the guys who have the anti-fireball ultras. I feel like are gonna cause a lot of headache. Because a lot of the times the characters had that choice, anti-fireball or uppercut FADC. Yeah. Now it's like, I have both. What are you going to do now?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is definitely when a character has two ultras that are designed to do competing things.
Yeah.
And you have to choose, usually, which one to go with, but it's not going to be the case
Like, think about Dudley versus Shoto. Think about Dudley versus Ryu.
Yeah.
If there's a fireball, I'm just going to go right through there and pound you, or I'm just going to land one of my crazy combos and get my free hit.
Right.
But then again, Corkscrew Blow really didn't do much damage.
That's true.
And so it's going to do even less. It's going to do even less. So.
We also have to consider potential changes, obviously.
Fair enough.
So I'm thinking about perhaps like a Honda. If Honda Ultra 2 is an actual grab, if it's an instant grab, if it has a little bit of range on it, maybe that utility in conjunction with Ultra 1 in Wake Up and like kind of crappy anti-fireball, but you can do it sort of things that Mike Ross can do totally on reaction. That kind of stuff sounds useful. Same thing maybe for Boxer. His Ultra 1 already doesn't do a lot of damage in most situations because it's comboed into. Think about maybe if Ultra 2 were buffed, if the range were better, if the grab was an instant grab. You can imagine that being really useful too. You can imagine Walter being really good for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's some characters who have it very unfortunate, like Bison. I mean, really, both Ultras were kind of the same thing. Originally, when they were designed, the whole point was that one of them was instant, and the other was a charge. So the instant one did very less damage. And then they changed it so they're both charged, and I never understood like what the point was at that moment, right?
I don't know.
Same thing with Fuerte. Like they both kind of fulfill a lot of the same roles, you know.
So this is another situation where if there's a slight buff, then it's going to be a big deal. If Fuerte Ultra 2 goes back to how it was in Super, where it was faster and it did more damage, then it would be really nice for him to have that up close threat. Ultra 1 is more of like a mid range kind of thing. Ultra 2 is more close range. If they could emphasize that, that'd be really strong. But yeah, I mean, there are characters who won't get that much benefit out of it. Guile probably not. Ryu's are going to pick Ultra 1 still, barring significant changes to how Ultra 2 works. Because the utility of that Ultra is just so much more than anything you could gain. You want to have that damage. So that's a big one.
It's just not worth sacrificing the little bits of damage for the 9,000 ways you can land Ultra 1, right?
Exactly.
Hey, but don't forget, counter hit EX Fireball FADC leads into Ultra 2.
Wow.
Oh my god.
So important.
Yeah, exactly.
I think those are most of the characters who I really think this is going to impact.
What about Gen?
I don't think if Ultra 2, again, is buffed significantly, then maybe. But if I'm a Gen player, I'm sticking with Super into Ultra 1. I'm still doing that. I want that damage. In fact, there was an interview with Shen where he talked about it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said that he feels that for Gen, the Ultra won't be that useful. He would want to stick with Ultra 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds good.
Because, I mean, it's another one of those things where it could help against Fireball characters having Ultra 2.
Yeah.
Right, in kick mode.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's worth the damage exchange.
It's also not that great even as anti-fireball. It's not like some Adon thing. Like the range isn't there.
And you have to commit to jumping. You have to commit to jumping.
You have to commit to jumping.
Like, I want to predict. You jump. And now you have all these frames where you're stuck in a jump where the opponent could be like, oh, cool, let me adjust my position while you're in the sky.
And by the way, if he meets anybody air to air, he loses.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any hitbox on that thing until he actually hits the ground. I haven't seen it.
No, it does. It kicks. It kicks.
Because it sucks.
Does it?
It's horrible.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. Anyway, so any other characters that you think could really be helped out by this? Again, Rufus, if Ultra 2 is put back to how it was in Super, could be a big deal. If not, then it's hard to.
I mean, for characters like Guy and Honda, it just depends on how the throws are tweaked.
Right.
If they actually are good throws. Seth might be kind of interesting because he'll have the far range one, but then if he needs to do that extra bit of damage, now he has Ultra 2 to be able to. And his Ultras didn't do that much damage in the first place, right? Usually when you landed Ultra 2 in the corner after a juggle, it was already scaled so far down that every hit was doing minimum damage practically already, so getting it 67%ed will just mean it gets to the minimum faster, and so I feel like it'll just be good to finish people off who have little bits of life left. So Seth might actually benefit.
As for Yun and Yang, I mean, Yun's probably just going to stick with the same Ultra because the other one is butt.
Right.
For Yang, I don't know, maybe.
It's kind of nice because the thing about it is the Raishin Hakan does more damage, and then the Tenshin Kyutai is definitely more utility because it combos better outside of full animation and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, I can kind of see it, but I mean, if the Raishin Hakan does more damage and you're picking Ultra and you're losing damage, then you've kind of nerfed the point of having the damage. So
yeah. Anybody else that people are thinking about? Abel, I think his Ultra 2 was way overrated when people were crying about brainless and whatever. Remember
in Super?
In Super?
Dude, it was good in Super.
Yeah, I think it was overrated.
It was ridiculously good, dude.
I think it was overrated. It was good, but it wasn't. I don't know. Whatever. Mm-hmm. I could see Abel's using a Ultra, but I could also see them sticking with U1 too.
Yeah, because I mean U1 is the one that you can combo into, right? Ultra 2 is a throw. Yeah. So you can't combo to it, so it's definitely utility, and it's not even that great of a utility right now because of how they nerfed it, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Chun-Li might be interesting.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, let's face it, Kikosho did no damage.
Totally ass damage.
No damage at all. And now in Ultra mode, even if it's EX Lightning into Ultra, it's going to do so little damage.
I feel like the main benefit to Chun is being able to do legs into Ultra mid screen, because already she can do it in the corner with Ultra 1. Yeah, I mean, I could see that being useful. I don't think that's a major benefit kind of character, but a character who I could see that.
Falcor says Cody he thinks would benefit from it because now he has the combo that he can FADC juggle with, and he's got the ground one to be able to do lots of cool things. Dude,
which is a pretty fast Ultra, but
we could probably talk about this later on. But dude, I didn't even know EX Zonk Knuckle. BJ Unchained at the concept matches did EX Zonk Knuckle into Ultra 2 juggle to finish somebody else.
It doesn't do the full.
It doesn't do any damage, but it was just really awesome that he got that. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sagat?
I don't. Maybe. I don't think so.
So,
personally, I don't think so.
Just judging from all of the conversation we've had here, all of it has felt kind of underwhelming, in other words, right? Like...
Yeah.
Okay, so...
It's not that big a deal.
Right. So I know you have this. Top 3 characters who benefit from this. What do you think?
Hakan, Akuma, Dhalsim.
Okay. I would put Hakan first as well. Second... Ooh, that's tough. I mean, Dhalsim, like you said, is really good. Akuma, those are good picks. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I think Jury would actually benefit pretty decently from that. And actually, I might even have to put Cammy in there, just because, like I said, all the changes are like okay for her so far. You know what I mean? Like I said, the FADC forward thing being -3 is like okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not that big a deal.
Exactly. I mean, when she did uppercut FADC uppercut, that was 200 damage.
Yeah.
So who the hell cared, right? So if you lose that now and you backdash and use that extra 100 juggle, oh no. So yeah. So
I think it's interesting, I guess just before we quit talking about this, to say that the characters who are really good with this are like mostly already good characters.
Right.
Akuma gets helped out, Cammy and Faye get helped out, Adon gets helped out, Seth gets helped out. I don't know, it just happens to work out like that, but
dude, I feel like, I mean, we even talked about it for the rumor that didn't happen, which is the delayed get-up, which I actually felt like was going to benefit the better characters anyway. I mean, the better characters are better characters for a reason.
Right, yeah, they have more options in general.
Right, exactly.
Okay, you want to take a break and talk about Red Focus when we come back?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll be right back, guys.